And then maybe just take a moment and each person on the team just give a shout out so we know who's who on your team and your major.
Yes, of course. So I'm Ralph. I'm interior architecture design major, and I'm glad to be doing this, but I will allow others to introduce themselves as well.
Hi, I'm Alejandra Sehu. I'm as well in the interior architecture design major, and this is my third year here.
I'm Alexis Canaday. I'm also in the interior architecture design program, and I'm a senior.
I am Jay Wagand, and I am also an interior architecture design major, and I'm also a senior.
Great.
Adrian, if you could introduce yourself as well.
Hello, my name is Adrian, and I'm a nursing student.
All right, looking forward to it. Go ahead.
All right, so we're presenting Carney's Academy. We're going to be explaining like the design a little bit and seeing what we came up with, but also how we could bring everything together. So this is the overall idea of what we had. So obviously we all know it's going to be done at Carney Academy, which is located in New Bedford. And what we're doing is adding an additional 50 by 50 additional to the building, and we're going to add that right into the existing building. So we're going to go to see where those places are going to be and what kind of rooms we're going to be adding in there, and to see what we're going to start with. Okay, so in the beginning of this, we had to do a little bit of research to find out exactly what we need to do, but also to see what is going to fit best into the space. So looking into building systems, we realized, okay, it has to be consistent, it has to be organized, it has to have good quality, and it already had those things, which is pretty good. And one of the benefits that we had knowing and looking into sensory rooms is that it helps students improve their visual tactics processing and also just overall motor skills, and allowing them to have a sense of calm and comfort, and also helps the students regulate their behaviors and just focus on improving themselves. And also with this too, they're also getting the appropriate simulations in the space. And throughout this other research, we also look into what kind of places will be important in that space, and we look into ABA spaces, OT spaces, offices that are definitely needed in the space. And throughout this entire process, we also talk to the nurses, but also the teachers that is going to be working in the school. And speaking to them, we noticed that they need the storage. They're going to need nearby bathrooms, not just one, not just two, but multiple bathrooms that they're going to be needed. Multiple different staff spaces, and also a community space, especially being in New Bedford. In this, we found these sources on certain books that we have read, specifically on chapter 6 in our book that we have read. And we also did some research on the website on Carney Academy. So looking into this project, we had to look at some precedent studies. So looking at this was going to give us an idea of what places that are out there that are doing the same thing. And as we talked about earlier about some spaces that are truly changing lives. And we look on the left here, we see the Medical University in South Carolina. We see the space right here, which is not a space that is too overwhelming, but having this space just to have it a relaxing moment that's flexible, that is able to have interactive walls, that also is just a comfortable space with the cove within the walls. And in the center here, you will see how you see more of those curved walls, you see more of those privacy chairs, and certain spaces that is able to be used and to have that type of comfortability. And on the right here, you see in main behavioral healthcare. Here, you see how they created this space just to be comfortable, but also private too, as you see in the windows. And also with all the spaces, you're able to have enough space for everyone, and different spots in the room that they can be used.
Okay, so moving on to concept, we decided to do the concept of superheroes. We wrote All students that attend Carney Academy are unique, diverse, and are all superheroes in their own way. We will be taking the superpowers, fun patterns, and colors to turn it into a space for the community to grow. And then some quotes that kind of just motivated us to pick this as our concept. We put that superheroes encourage children to make new friends and an identity outside of the real world, and they teach children to acknowledge their vulnerabilities and limits as elements that make them unique. The message is that being different is a plus. Sorry, it's not letting me move on. Okay, and then some elements that make a superhero. So we put attitude. They're spontaneous, strong, brave. They're inspiring, courageous, and they're leaders. Their identity, they're all diverse, different. They're all unique, different ages, genders, and religions. And they all have their superpowers, which are flying, telepathy, teleportation, speech, strength, super healing, and obviously a lot more. And we decided to incorporate this slide because a lot of these elements that the superheroes have, the kids that attend the kids that attend Carney Academy also have them. So sorry.
I think you have to click on the slide first. I think that was what I was having trouble with.
Thank you. So moving on to the programming phase of design. So we wrote down all the rooms that we wanted within the first floor. So we put reception, waiting area, the ABA, OT, PT, observational rooms, the conference room, community office, bathroom, and storage, of course. So right where you walk in, it's obviously going to be the reception and the waiting area. And on the left, it's going to be more for like the community. So the community office, and if there has to be any meetings, like larger meetings, they can use a conference room as well for like parent-teacher conferences. And then more towards the back to give it more private or more privacy, it's the therapy rooms. And then in between each room, there are the observational rooms. And right across is a bathroom. And each room will come will have storage, but there will also be a storage room outside of the classrooms. For the second floor, we put the pre-K class, the K through 2 class 3 to 5, sensory room, sensory moments, bathrooms, rev up space, rev down space, a snack room, the train track, and a staff office. So going up on the right, or the bottom half of the room is more like the sensory wing. So it's going to have the rev up and rev down moments, as well as a sensory room, and the train track that can also be used for a sensory moment. And then going up is going to be the classrooms, and then in between each class there's going to be sensory moments, and then in the middle is going to be some storage. Again, there's going to be storage within the classrooms, but there's going to be extra storage outside of the classroom. And then the bathrooms, and then a staff office. So it can be like a touchdown space or just like a small office just for them to put their stuff away or have a private meeting.
So here is how those block diagrams translated to the first and second floors. I'm going to be talking about the first floor itself. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the highlighted entrance where the circulation path begins. That is signified by this gold line here. You have some casual seating directly inside that primary entrance door right there. And you were greeted by a walled off by a half wall reception area here. Continuing on through the space, on the left-hand side, you have the men's and women's restrooms. And on the right-hand side, beyond the reception desk, you would have a storage area, followed by ABA rooms split into both a larger like communal area where teachers could have multiple kids at once, and then separate rooms for kids who need to be like isolated for certain periods of time, maybe with their para or what have you. And an observational room also attached to both the ABA room and the PT and OT rooms in the top right-hand corner. Those are intended to have the teachers or paras able to see the students working independently and observe how they are doing. You have another storage area attached here and one in this area. There's bound to be lots of different equipment that's getting brought out, put away, moved around. So that's why those storages are included there. And the northmost door here is intended to be the primary exit, as well as an area in which parents would drop off and pick up their children.
And moving up to the second floor, we're going to start off in the sensory wing. So when you looked over to your left, you can see the puzzle pieces that kind of simulate a train track, and that would be painted or embedded into the floor. And there will also be storage for the wagons in the corridor in between the stairs and the rub down room. And this is where a teacher or a para can pull the kids down the wagon and kind of down the train track and help them rev down if needed. There's also a snack room as well as a rev up room in this hallway. And then to your right will be the sensory room. And for any kids that are waiting to use a sensory room, there will be a sensory moment that is in between the grade 3 through 5 classrooms. And there's general storage that is right next to the 3 through 5 classrooms. And then for the staff, there is a staff office right across from the storage, and the staff bathroom is right next to it. And right above the staff office and bathroom is the girls and boys restroom. That is for any students in any of these classrooms. Up in the top left is the pre-K room, and that also has a bathroom for the potty camp. And right next door to the pre-K room is the K through 2 classroom. And there are 2 exits in both of these classrooms for egress.
So we got to focus on 3 different spaces, and my space was the snack room. So I wrote that a large population of the children in the community suffer from food insecurity. Many children can have their moment or have a hard time concentrating due to a lack of food. The snack room will also be a teachable space to practice social skills in eating. So when you walk in on the right, it's a hand washing sink, and it can be used to, wash your hands before you eat, as well as like wash your fruits and vegetables. So that could be the teaching moment for the children, as well as a cabinet full of snacks and the fridge. And then we have 2 alcove seatings on opposite sides of the room. Those are more for the kids that want to eat alone or want to have that private moment. And they have these like movable tables, so if they don't want them there, they can take them out as well. And then we also have a group seating for those that want to eat together or need to have someone else with them in order to eat a snack. And then on the floors, we will also have these liquid floor tiles so they can have an interactive moment instead of like using their hands, since they're going to be dirty with their food. We decided to just put them on the floor so they can use it with their feet. The alcoves were inspired by the president's study that was mentioned earlier on. And these are the floor tiles that were mentioned that were going to be on the floor. And this is the snack room that is right between the rev up and rev down space.
Another space that we're also using is a sensory moment. This is located right in the hallway, right before you enter the sensory wing, which we're calling, right when the sensory room is right here. So this is to just kind of have like a moment right before you walk in. So this is going to be right in the corner right here, where you're going to have most of these type of things that you could do on the wall. So certain things, they can have balance balls in there, interactive walls, and it's kind of like an indoor playground where they can use and actually physically touch certain things and move things around, which can stimulate them, which is going to be something that will be easier to walk around, and if they're having a moment, they're able to come in that space. So as we talked about it, it's not going to be just like a simple sensory wing, but you're going to have the entire space be more of a sensory place, and you can, in multiple different corners, you're going to be able to have these certain interactive, and this will be one of them. And you can go to the next slide. And so this is how it would look like in the rev up space. So, and as we've written here, as sometimes children with autism or are low on energy, and it's important to have a space for them to build that energy back up. And so this space right here is going to be where they can actually do a trampoline or a space that they can move around. If you look at the pictures on the bottom, you will see how that's going to be looked at in a way of using that same type of superhero type of feel. And then you will see how they can jump up. So it's a way of flying, but also showing your strength and showing you that you're able to move around. And of course, we think about safety. So the floor is going to be padded with anything that's going to be that way if they fall down or anything like that, they're able to be protected. And everything is going to be useful for they can run around. There's going to be also spaces on the walls. It's going to have lightnings and to be able to show lightning bolts and to show how interactive it could be to stimulate that that type of interaction that you want with the walls, and also with how you're feeling in the specific moment. And so this is another way of building up energy in order to be fast, to be able to jump, to be able to do certain things. And that's going to be located right next to the snack room. And this space is actually going to be open, so they're able to be seen by the staff. They're able to be they can be watched by the staff to be able to do that right in that space right there. And you can go to the next one.
Before moving to the next slide, I just wanted to mention that this is how we're going to incorporate our concept as well. So the rev up is going to be more of the superheroes that are more active. So like those that have super strength, those that have lightning speed. So that's how we want to incorporate it in the room, because superheroes need time to, get activated. So that's kind of how we're going to motivate the children as well. As well as a rev up space, we will have a rev down space for those that need. So it's like sometimes children with autism are high on energy, and it's important to have a space for them to build up, release some energy. And we'll incorporate our concept by using like different superheroes. So for example, we wanted to use telepathy as the superpower. And in order to read minds, you have to sit down and focus and concentrate and calm down. So that is another way how we would motivate the children in the space. And different activities, we would have meditation, peanut balls, swings, and some design elements that we would incorporate would be clouds, soft materials, comforting spaces. And we put some images of like different activities. So we have like the Zen garden, a little spot for like meditation that's comforting for the child, as well as a swing. And that is right next to the snack room as well. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
So a few questions. So I love the superhero theme. We have it, in our areas of dismissal. We have different superhero themes throughout the outside of the building, so parents are very familiar. I love the frosted window idea. I thought that looked very sharp, and it was a way for people not peeking in and see what kids are doing. It's kind of a privacy, so I loved it. It looked really sharp. I loved your what makes a superhero question, because I think that would be something like walking in, kind of seeing that. That's like our little, message. I would love to see some of these superheroes in wheelchairs, in a walker. I would love to see more diversity in our superheroes to kind of make it what our demographics in our building. I love the liquid floor tiles. I see a lot of kids walking. They can even sit in them. So I love that you incorporated that. I know in both projects, there were stairs, no ramps. I really, really would like to have ramps if possible, because I'm not sure if the elevator will work based on the location and where, that's definitely for the contractor. But if there was a way that we could probably incorporate the ramps, then it's kind of like we're not excluding certain students to use elevators. It's an open area that all kids can access the same way. So maybe I'm hoping that we can kind of tweak these plans to have those ramps. I'm not opposed of the elevators. I'm just not sure if that's going to be feasible, the location of where this room will be. But who knows? I'm not an architect. It could happen, but I really would like to see all kids able to access the entire room without being kind of, this group needs to use the elevator because they have to be able to, just kind of think